beautiful people, today I'm going to show you how I make my vintage heart-shaped cake. So starting off with an organic batter, I'm going to be using a swirly method, so I'm using both chocolate and vanilla. Following the instructions on the box, I'm just whisking up 4 eggs. Adding a cup of coconut oil. I proceed to add it to the eggs just to get all the wet ingredients together. This cake is pretty simple, so you don't need too many ingredients. I just whisk up those 3 ingredients and you're done. I got too ahead of myself and forgot to butter the pan, so I'm just returning the batter as if nothing ever happened. I remembered to butter the pan this time, so I'm just getting that together. I'm using a 6x3 inch pan. I'm adding little by little. There are no exact measurements for this part. I just want to get an even layer of vanilla batter at the bottom and then a little bit of the chocolate batter. I'm just using a chopstick to swirl it up in no particular order or pattern. And then I repeat the steps until the pan is 2/3 filled up. Make sure to tap it against the counter so there are no extra bubbles, and into the oven it goes. Now for the buttercream, you want to make sure that your butter is at room temperature. I use 2 sticks of butter. Don't want to add air to the mixture, so try not to whip it up too fast. For 2 sticks of butter, I'm using a whole box of powdered sugar, which adds up to a cup. I strain the sugar in just to get all the extra clumps out and so that the buttercream can be as smooth as possible. Look at that. I started at low for 30 seconds and then gradually went up higher for 5 minutes. Once all of that is mixed up, I'm adding a little bit of vanilla extract, and I got this pink food coloring from Michael's. Since I'm making 2 shades of pink, I figured out at this point I might as well made a bigger batch and then separated them, but I didn't. So here I go again, repeating the steps, but this time I'm adding salt. Instead of 2 drops of food coloring, I'm just using 1 to create a lighter shade. I'm putting this in an airtight container so that I could stick it into the fridge, since I will continue the cake the next day. As long as it's in an airtight container, the buttercream will be fine. I was in a rush to get this baby out of there because I had to go to work. But make sure to let the cake cool off before you try to take it out so it doesn't fall apart. Next, I'm cutting off the top layer just to get an even stacked cake. This is the next day. I froze the cakes and I wrapped them in plastic wrap just so it won't lose moisture or catch the taste of the freezer. This is the part where we turn the cake into a heart. I'm just cutting off the bottom 2 pieces so that we can stick them to the top and make a heart. It's much easier because the cake is frozen and we don't get too many crumbs. I baked 2 cakes so that it looks smaller yet taller, and I'm just layering it on top just to make the measuring easier. up my pipe to place it on the cake border to act as my glue. And I am using the darker shade of pink to frost the cake first. I'm using that same buttercream to stick the top of the heart pieces on, and if they break, no worries, it acts like a glue and you can just put it back on. For the filling, I'm using that same buttercream to make it stick, and fresh strawberries. Of course, I didn't want to use like a store-bought jelly or anything like that, so I'm just cutting up some strawberries. Don't forget to wash your strawberries. Putting on the crumb coat, it's so easy. You don't need any type of talent for this type of work. You just want to slap it on there, cover the cracks, cover up any cake. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want the crumbs to be sealed. Once I was finished, I put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. You can leave it in longer or overnight if you can. Now this is the part where you do need a little bit more patience. This is the top layer and you want to make it as smooth as possible. I'm using one of these little things. I don't know what they're called. Let me know in the comments down below. But it is really useful to smooth it out. You always want to wipe the excess buttercream off so that you don't put it back onto the cake and you can make it as smooth as possible. Always go back in if you need extra buttercream, fill in more spots, and try not to overdo it. Just make one big swipe and you'll be good. I went for that not too perfect vintage look, but if you want it perfect, you can definitely do that. Beautiful thing about buttercream compared to a cream cheese frosting is that it hardens up because of the butter. So I put it back in the fridge for 5 minutes so it can harden and I can transfer it to a new border since the old one got dirty. Now using the lighter shade of pink, I'm going in with the biggest pipe opening I have just to get the edges and to make everything look cleaner. I don't know what this is called, but you can see the technique I'm using. And for the top, my hand is covering it the whole time, but you can see I'm just doing like a little swirl. It's because the buttercream is hard on the bottom, we have room to make mistakes and you could just clean that right up. This is the fun part. Have fun with it. There are so many things you can do. This is what I decided to do. I'm just adding more layers onto there, making it look more cute and vintage every time. This was absolutely my favorite part. I'm using the smallest piping I have to draw the hearts and adding sugar pearls on top and connecting them together. You can do bows, you can do any design right here. You have enough space to get creative. I was making this for my sister, so I put the number 25 on top. A vintage cake usually has the number on the cake instead of as the candles. Decorate the top, you can use cherries. I'm using strawberries and just coating them in honey water with some red sprinkles. And we're done. I appreciate you so much for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe and like this video.